Hello Upscale people. Today's consumer is spoiled for choices. They want everything in one location because, let's be honest, from weather condition to traffic, the combination is too much to bear. In light of this, in today's video, we are going to talk about an upcoming project that offers fine dine restaurants, cozy cafes, large supermarkets, stores of all top brands, vibrant lounges, and of course, ample parking space. A high street is an essential element of many towns and cities, serving as a vibrant hub for local businesses, shops, and community life. It's a place where people come together to shop, socialize, and experience the unique charm of a neighborhood. What makes Tribeca different? Well, that's what we are going to find out in today's video. And to spice things up even more, we will be joined by a guest who will shed lights on this project, including what is minimum guarantee, what is revenue sharing, what are anchor stores, and the difference between sellability and leasability of the high street. So a whole lot of fun and information is coming your way. Let's get started. I am standing in front of an amazing project in NIBM. I am very excited to present this one-of-a-kind project as it boasts over 3 lakh square feet and is going to represent the future of retail. The High Street is a joint venture between Tribeca and Acropolis, the developers of the Arc Voyage to the Stars. Tribeca is also the largest developers of the Trump properties in the world, after the Trump organization. Set against the gorgeous backdrop of the Arc, the Tribeca High Street is a massive development that will be the mecca of all shopping, entertainment and dining in Pune. Located on a 24-meter wide road in one of the greatest belt of the city, Tribeca High Street is the only organized retail in all of South Pune, with 3 levels of marvelous architecture that will keep families entertained for the entire week, not just the weekend. Before we get into more details, I would like to introduce a very special guest in our today's video. He is Commercial Head for Tribeca High Street. I would like to welcome Zubesh Sheikh. Please help us understand the entire project and also shed some light on retail and the importance of high street retail.
Thank you for having me on board this video, Salman bhai. Talking about the project, it is South Pune's only organized high street retail, a proper 3.5 lakh square feet of a development, which is actually divided in 3 levels. So the entire team was trying to achieve something that was not done previously within South Pune. You had a couple of projects that were failed in and around. So when we started with the entire vision, initially it was a mall. Then we came up with the idea of a high street, okay, which is more independent, where brands could actually do the business freely. That was the idea. This was more of a gratitude to South Pune. It was the need of the hour for the entire location, because the closest retail destination over here is at least a 30-minute drive. With 8.5 lakh people staying in and around the location, this was actually needed around here.
It's great to hear the vision of Tribeca. What I have seen mostly in my career is developers make retail from a sales point of view, where they want to sell and exit. What makes you different?
So everything about the project is extremely different. Right from the planning stage, most developers, as you very rightly said, that plan the project from a sales point of view. It should be easily sellable. The real success of the project is where it should be easily leasable. So when we went into that, it was actually a big hurdle. What we first did was the ground floor was designed from anchors point of view. Anchors create a lot of pull, which is needed for any project. Then we had the upper ground floor, or the plaza as we say, which is one of India's longest walking plaza. That is where we placed the smaller formats. We focused on zoning and where we kept the leasing control in our hands. Also, as a developer, we took certain steps where we would not like to exit the project completely. There's a major chunk of it where as a developer, we will still be involved.
Keep your skin in the game.
Yes, absolutely.
In my experience, what I have noticed is a commercial project is valued only with its occupancy, the kind of companies and brands coming in. What was your strategy to get brands and their placement?
When we started with the leasing initially of this project, it was a little difficult because South Pune as a market was never looked from a retail point of view. With every lease that we did, we actually delivered a statement. The plan was such where your retail actually can be divided in 7 or 8 major categories, and then you can subdivide it. So you have anchors, you have food and beverage, you have entertainment, you have men, women, kids, and sports. So the strategy was to have cluster of brands in and around. The first brand that we got on board was Westside from Tata. When we came up with Westside, a lot of people then started thinking of South Pune as a market. Then the second brand to sign was Starbucks. Then we came up with Chroma. Then we came up with McDonald's. Then we came up with Apple. And then with every brand that we started, we actually delivered the statement after statement. A lot of people actually told us that the ground floor would be easier to lease and the upper ground floor, the plaza as we say it, would be difficult to lease. When we started leasing the plaza, Starbucks, Apple, McDonald's, talking about today, we've got, you name the brands and we already have them on board. Okay.
You also have used the natural contour very nicely. The road is slanting.
Yes.
So the ground level and the upper ground level matches very nicely.
Very true. So my ground level and the upper ground level has a direct ground floor access. Talking about the plaza, it has 11 entry exit points, the way that the entire play.
11 entry exit points.
11 entry exit points, yes. And that gives an added advantage to my strategic placement of brands. There is no place where a brand comes up and says, okay, this is not a good location. When it is on the plaza, it is one zone where you're standing at any point and all your brands are visible in a single glance. So a lot of positivities came along due to the contour, due to the natural way that the entire project was placed, and at the actual thought process that went into planning it.
Perfect. What happens in malls normally are there is an entry point. So brands think that this is the footfall, this is the eyeball. But when you say you have 11 entry and exit points, so there are multiple entry and exit points for the shoppers and also the brands to think safe about their placement.
Very true. Plus what happens, Salman bhai, is that initially if you would have, now retail needs a lot of thought process.
It does.
When you actually enter into a mall, the initial 2-3 stores is something that usually get missed out. A lot of people think that the first stores are prime. They actually should fetch a higher rental. But usually what happens when you...
It is about the developer also. The developer is projecting the mall as there is a drop box. You will get down here and go for shopping.
Precisely.
Whereas that actual is you drive into the parking lot and come somewhere in between.
Indeed. So the thought process has to go into both ways, where a drop-off point should also cater to a variety of brands in and around. And once you enter into the parking and then you come up through the elevator or the escalator, that zone should also have a lot of brands. So when I said that you got 11 entry exit points, today I don't have brands that come up and say, okay, this is not a good zone. I would not like to go in over here.
Definitely, definitely. You talk about leasing more than selling. And I know for the fact that you are not selling it to end users unless it is a very good brand. Why did you decide to lease first and then sell it as pre-leased?
So when we opened up sales in the pre-launch phase, we had only opened up the ground floor anchor stores. When investors came in, they needed a sense of security. The kind of big box anchors that we had to be leased out first and then sold to the investors. But with that, we had achieved a particular benchmark that, okay, people started knowing that South Pune and Tribeca High Street is capable of attracting good brands. That's when we opened up markets to other investors. And once an investor came in, even if he did not have a unit which was pre-leased, it was still sold out to the investor. What we did was we actually gave them more of an assurance that we have an in-house leasing team. We will lease it out to most of the investors. Talking about that, the difference between leasing assistance and leasing guarantee is something that comes into play. A lot of developers use leasing guarantee as a sales or a marketing gimmick. Whereas what we did was we actually had an in-house leasing team which went out headhunting, getting brands on board. Now that got us to achieve a certain minimum guarantee. So the entire model in South Pune of having a minimum guarantee and revenue share was very, very new. A lot of investors were residential investors. To get them to move from residential to commercial was the initial challenge. But with the entire enthusiasm and the confidence of the team, we were able to do that. When we started leasing it out, we were able to achieve a certain minimum guarantee, and that's where the confidence of the investors started building up. When we sold it out to them, we actually gave them a range of what is the kind of minimum guarantee that they can expect. And over and above a minimum guarantee, a revenue share, if it hits, is something that they can expect out of it. That was something.
So your minimum guarantee becomes your rentals, and the revenue sharing, whatever you earn, is your bonus.
Is the bonus. So with that model, my investors actually fell in love with the entire property, and we were able to sell out most of the project within no time. So very promising.
You have the vibe to it.
Absolutely. Plus, the way that the entire project is designed, it has never happened a brand or an investor has walked in and they've told me that they're getting a very negative vibe. Okay, everybody walks in and they get a very positive vibe. I'm sure that today, once you would have walked in, it would have been the same kind of a feeling.
There is an established high street in the western part of Pune. How is Tribeca any different?
So at Tribeca High Street, we focused on the proper leasing of the entire project. Okay, we made sure the equilibrium of the retail and F&B was maintained. Most investors or developers out within the city, they focus on getting F&B brands. Now, they are good footfall drivers. The issue with that is your retail obviously commands a higher minimum guarantee, and the F&B commands a lower minimum guarantee. Over here, we made sure that retail was at least 60% or above, and we restricted F&B to not more than 40%. Retail was spread throughout the project. F&B was there at zones which was concentrated.
Yes, a part of it. That is why it is called high street and not food court or food mall or anything.
Precisely.
It has to be a mix of everything.
Precisely. So you've got fine dine restaurants which are properly placed at a different location. You've got QSRs that are placed at different locations. You've got cafes in between which serve their purpose as zone breakers in between. So everything is so thought through that today...
With your 11 multiple entry and exits.
Yes. So when today a brand comes in, every brand tells me that, okay, I want a front-facing store, but that's not how we lease it out. We rather convince the brand, why should the brand be at a particular location, which is in the best interest of the investor, of the brand, of the developer, and everybody who's involved in the entire transaction. That's how the convincing goes into it, and this is where we focus upon.
After that talk, I really can't wait for the project to be operational. And thank you for your support and explaining us the project.
It was indeed a pleasure being here.
Pleasure. So if you're looking for more details on sizes, prices, and a property tour, contact on the number given on the screen. Until then, see you in the next video.